kind of gradually realize and learn kind of by osmosis. And some of the elements of what you were just saying there have been kind of recurring to me. I think this is like how this is kind of done, and how do you present, and how do you and yeah. So those are all great tips as well.
As an operator, I know other investors are romanticizing multifamily investing, and I'm looking to learn from other investors' mistakes. I know you are too, and you found the right place. Welcome to Myers Methods Presents Multifamily Missteps. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Myers Methods Presents Multifamily Missteps. I'm your host, Jerome, and we've got a special episode for you, part of our multifamily kickstart program. And I'm fortunate enough to have my man, Johnny Nelson, with me today. Johnny, how are things in your neck of the woods?
Hey, I'm doing really good, man. Just got off the W-2 work. The focus is to transition hard into the multifamily space. So I'm really excited about that path. I've been chasing this hard for about 6 months, and I've been following lots of podcasts, and I was turned on to yours about maybe 4 months ago, and
Nice.
then I've recommended it to a few folks as well. One thing I'm super excited about that I really like your
Recommend it, Johnny. You got to recommend that thing. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? You recommend. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. I'm just messing.
Yeah, so then when I recommended it, I was like, because really felt that like I was like Jerome's got this cool podcast, and he's dialed into this niche space where he's kind of taken the not really contrarian philosophy, but kind of that piece where it's like, how did you do it? And we chased down that path to success. And then as other guests, and obviously literally the name of the podcast is highlights, is what goes wrong, what can go wrong, really dial into the nitty gritty of that. And there's just so much potential knowledge and things to really kind of really unpack there. So I really like that piece that you've uncovered, really drill down to that niche, and yeah, it's very appealing to me.
Man, thank you so much. People give me a hard time. They're like, "Why does anybody want to hear about the missteps?" I say that's where all the learning is. If it all goes right, I don't think you can actually learn a whole lot. So I appreciate you noticing that and
Yeah,
actually finding
dude. Yeah, I
some
mean,
value there.
you carved out a cool space. I mean, there's lots. I mean, like it's obviously it's important to get the success pieces, and people do want to like model that success. But also, there's like an equal, the negative side. There's always like if you're at zero, and there's like the negative and the positive. There's equal spaces in either side of that. And within that is that you focus on what I mean, you could say the negative space, at least the opposite side of the success. And there's so much to unpack and learn there as well, and explore. So again, you've carved out a unique thing, and that's another piece that just from a business opportunity, I'm really attracted to that type of mind that can crack open just we think we're in this one headspace or this one business space,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden somebody uncovers this new perspective, this new angle. I'm like, damn, why didn't I think of that?
So that's perfect. But I mean, I think that's what the whole game is in this mergers and acquisition space that we're playing in, right? And so you said you've been chasing pretty hard after it. And I don't know if you've done your first deal or getting close on your first deal. So walk us down the journey. Where are you on the path? And kind of let's talk about the things you're trying to overcome. See if I can help get you started.
Yeah, for sure, bud. So my wife and I started in the real estate space about 2 years ago at the end of 2018 and kind of beginning of 2019. We picked up a few. I just heard a colleague talk about it and was like, oh, the house hack, you get a duplex, and from that kind of perspective. And it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. And then, maybe we should do that. So then, roughly it was like 2 years of going down the smaller, single family, duplex type of thing. And then looking at our lives, like, well, we're going to have a family, and how do the scale is so limited. I'm just going to take like 10, 20 years to get where we want to go. And clearly there's lots and lots of discussions out there like, well, multifamily, multifamily, multifamily. I mean, thousands of people have said this on other podcasts. So we all know that. So coming right to the point here. So like I said, 6 months ago, we joined a group, and a lot of been just tons of learning and personal learning and growth and mindset learning. So I guess to come to the point of, what the point of of our discussion today, I guess there's probably a mixture of impatience on my part. I'm a man of action, but also impatient at the same time. I guess I see probably the deepest and the deepest part of my heart. I'm like, I don't know if I can fund this deal. If I was to bring this down, and me and a couple of people, do not have confidence that I would be able to come up with the money. So there's a awesome question. I'm sure tons of people have asked, but let's hear what Jerome has to say to that one.
Yeah. So the money isn't as big a deal. Let me see if I can point. I want to position this the right way.
Yeah,
The If you don't have the experience, then you won't even get to the place where you have the money question, right? Because the bank is going to be your biggest partner on the deal. And in order to get them to bring 60 to 80%, whatever they choose to bring on the particular opportunity, they're going to be looking for an operator with some experience. And experience means they signed a loan and they've executed that business plan. Unless your net worth is just so big and your liquidity is so strong that you could write a check to do the project on your own. And
it's
so
not. So
yeah, I wasn't fortunate enough to be in that spot either. And so I needed to be partnered with somebody who has some experience and some liquidity and net worth. And so what I will tell you is finding the deal and being, you said you've already joined the group. There should be some people in that group who are more senior and are interested in doing deals, right? And those folks would be the ideal partner for you. That's a big part of the reason why you pay the money to join that community. And then from there, your combined forces take you to the bank. The thing that makes you valuable to the folks with experience is that you find the deal. And I can't emphasize this enough. People are saying, well, why would somebody want to partner with me? Or I don't want to partner with anybody. But
yeah,
if there's a gap, right, with the knowledge, deal flow, experience, or capital, then those are the reasons why other folks partner. With
let's
that
drill down.
said, is your goal to syndicate or do you want to joint venture?
I'm kind of agnostic to either method. Whatever, if it was a larger deal, I would be like, sure, let's syndicate. I think my first inclination would be a JV or a partnership, and that's just because I think it makes more sense for a newbie to start with a smaller asset. That just kind of the sequence just happens to be the kind of the smaller deal would be more inclined to be JV, and the larger deal would be syndicated. So
Okay. So, but strategy wise, I mean, are you looking for the 100 unit plus? Are you looking for the 20 unit? Like what size deal are you looking for? Because I think that clarity is going to help you get to the place you want to get quick.
20 to 100, 20 to 100 units is my range. I've been telling people that, and I think that's a good place to start.
Okay. And
So
so
sub 100, yeah.
okay, so sub 100, what it's going to take for you to do a 20 unit deal is very different from 100. What markets are you looking at?
My wife and I live in Minneapolis, and
Ooh,
your
that's
earlier
expensive.
comment, yeah. My wife, so and the value that we can bring, kind of to your point that you let out with, is the being boots on the ground, or the hunting the deals and that kind of thing, because we're not bringing massive amounts of capital or experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it is hunting those deals down. That's what I've been communicating, is that sub 100 deal.
Okay. And so I don't know which group you joined, but most of the syndication groups are looking for plus 100 plus unit deals, right? And so if you take that to, and I won't name any of the guys, but if you take that to that guru or that educator, they're going to say this doesn't fit our criteria and nobody's going to sign on this loan. Is that in congruence or in alignment with the folks who you've paid money to be a part of their program?
There's folks on both sides of that equation. Some people want the larger deal and some people don't, and that's something I've kind of been realizing the last few months as well, is presenting, as these various deals pop up, that deal to the right, matching that to the right investor. And I guess another question then is, how do you really sell the folks on, you think you've matched the deal to the investor or investors typically. How do you convince them that this is the deal? I mean, because they're looking at deals around, around the country. So then you're literally competing with this, Iowa, and you're competing with Texas or Arizona. How do you convince them, and what's been your experience to, like, okay, I'm going to invest with Jerome in this, North Carolina or wherever, wherever your strength is.
So I want to get clear. When you say investor, are you talking about like GP sponsor type person, or are you talking about a passive investor?
Um, Probably, well, if it's going to go with the JV, it's just basically equity partner, people that
Okay,
would,
it's a partnership. Okay.
everyone would be actively involved, and somebody probably would be just bringing mainly money, and they would be letting the team on the ground here handle most of it. But yeah, so that'd be framing it that way, more some type of
So
JV deal.
the majority of people I know who are doing this in a real way are not looking all over the country. They may
Okay.
have 5 markets that they look at. And so if you find a deal in the market that they're trying to source from, then they're very interested in it, especially if it's something that they haven't been able to get their eyes on. Now, the other piece of that is, what's the buy box? What do you look for in an investment? Can we hit the cash on cash return? Can we hit the overall return for the property? Is there a minimum cash flow um, per year? Is there a certain debt service coverage ratio that they're looking for when you go into the deal? Does it have the cash flow for them day one? Like going through and starting to ask those questions and see what the investor is actually looking for
Yes.
their deal allows you to be very targeted when you present something, right? You're not just saying, hey, here's what I got. What do you think? And, the thing that probably irritated me the most early on before I got a whole lot more clear on what I was doing is people would just send me offering memorandums that they got from brokers and said, hey, you want to partner on this deal? And like,
Yeah.
you didn't do anything. Why would I partner with you? Like, the broker already sent me this, by the way. So like your contribution was not there at all. And
Yes.
so the encouragement here is all right, and you can narrow it down too. And so I always tell people knowledge, deal flow, experience, capital. If you're got the knowledge and you can actually underwrite, the underwriting, and you can do this a number of different ways, but one of the ways that I think is probably most valuable is present a deal to that person and
Yes.
just make sure that you're on the same page from assumptions, right? If and another great example is, hey, minimum increase in rents is $100, for example,
Yeah.
right? And go through, and if you like, I'm aggressive on rent growth, so there's some models where I have 5% rent growth, especially if I'm $100 below market. I'm going to raise rents pretty aggressively. So
Yeah.
if they see that in your model and they're like, well, there's no way we're going to do that, like the only thing that we're interested in is 3% growth, and oh, your cap rate for whatever you think this type of property is too low, which is giving you a false valuation on the actual number on the back end, then it, you want to be clear about what they're going to be looking for. And those numbers, and there's only a few numbers that are really important: debt service coverage ratio, net operating income, cap rate. Like those right there are going to, if you can get answers to those questions from the person that you're looking to partner with, and you can bring them something that meets those criteria, there's but so much wiggle room. They can fuss with you about, hey, this repair and maintenance expense is higher or lower than what I expected to be. But I mean, those are more details than the concept. And so get to agreement and concept on like what the person's looking for, because if they're actually investing, then they probably have a pretty clear idea of what it is. And if they don't want to give that to you, then they probably aren't interested in partnering, right? And so there's a relationship building piece first, going through the know, like, and trust funnel. Once
Yes.
they're at the trust point, then getting over to, okay, so what are you looking for specifically? Like, give me the secret sauce. That service coverage ratio. Are you good with whatever the bank will fund? Splits. Or are you looking to do 80/20, or do you want us to be at 90/10? Acquisition fee. And I was just having this conversation with one of my partners. You know, he usually does splits that are more generous than what I would do, considering the
Oh,
amount of work that we're going to be doing. And so it's like I don't think we should do. I don't think we should give the partners that much. I think we should
sure.
keep more of this deal because of how much work we're going to end up doing. A lot of people want to be profitable multifamily operators but lack the knowledge, deal flow experience, and capital to be successful. They often try to overcome these challenges out of order, slowing or eliminating their ability to get their next deal done. We've developed a framework that allows them to gain the knowledge they need to find profitable deals. When they do, they create the time and location freedom, as well as the generational wealth they desire for their family. The Myers methods of multifamily investing have proved to be the fastest way to establish credibility and profitably grow an apartment portfolio. If you want to know more about our 4-step process, jump over to myersmethods.com to get our free 4-step guide to getting into multifamily investing. Let's get back to the episode. It's a whole lot of power. And so you've got to protect yourself too, because, you know, you're financially at risk as well. Because I mean, the whole goal in finding your own deal is so that you can sign the loan, so that you get the experience. And so, what I would tell you is, and I can think this is probably the last piece of it, right? You want to make sure that you are dealing with something that you would feel comfortable if the person pulled out, right? You still want to be able to do the deal.
Mm,
And if you're totally dependent on somebody else doing it, you're probably out over your skis, right?
yeah, yeah,
And that's where you can lose a lot of money. And the person shrugs their shoulder and says, yeah, it just wasn't a good fit for me. So you want to pace and test along the way. So for instance, if you're chasing the deal, you don't want to put all the due diligence money in. Maybe if you haven't worked with a person before, you might want to have them come in for portions of it, so that if you get to the end of the road, they have something to lose too. If
yeah,
you're the only one with something to lose, then it's easy for the other person to walk away, right?
yeah,
You want everybody invested. And, you know, if they're actually in on the deal, they're not going to have a problem participating in that, right?
yeah.
It's
That's
just part
great.
of it.
That's great insight there. Yeah. Also, just if there's no another way, though, at least how it occurs in my mind is like if there's no the upside is if there's only upside for them and no downside, that's not a good position to be in.
It's not a good position for you. Now, with that said, seasoned investors are going to try to get into that position, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But the seasoned investor who's going to be a great partner is going to put skin in the game with you, because they want to be on the journey. They want to show you that you guys are aligned, and they want to show you that, hey, this is the real deal. Now, you know, I say that, and in the same breath, I will say I hate having my money in due diligence. I don't want my money sitting at the attorney's office while we go through a 3-month due diligence process. I'd rather keep my money to myself. And so, but that's me negotiating the earnest money deposit, right? I'm going to try to get that down below 1%. I always try to.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work, but that's always my goal. But that's you
Sure.
guys being clear on the strategy for the execution of that business plan, and them explaining to you what their actual goals are, so that you can work together. I think the last thing I'll say is, you know, be careful about contracting too quick on a deal that you know you can't do on your own, because you can do something in the contracting process that precludes people from participating in the deal. They may say, hey, I need this or I need that. It could be simple as timeline. I remember putting a deal under contract, and my partner wanted another, I think they wanted another 30 days that I hadn't put in the contract. And because
Mm,
we didn't have the extra 30 days,
yeah.
said, well, it's too rushed. I don't feel comfortable. I'm out. Right. I remember having an opportunity to buy something out of foreclosure, and we needed to show $10 million so that we could buy it cash. And I said, well, we got to show this letter next week. And he said, yeah, I mean, I can get the money, but it's not going to happen in a week. I'm out. And so, you know, time is always going to be a component. And the wealthiest people I know
Yes.
don't like feeling rushed when they're doing anything. They want to slow it down. And so if you get to the place, you want to get them involved as early as you can in the process. But
Yeah.
this goes back to the trust, right? If you bring a deal to somebody and you don't have it under contract, they can always go around you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, they go around you, they don't have a good reputation long range, and so that kind of spirals out of control. But because if you can get them engaged before it goes under contract, that allows you to write the contract, because that's the most important document you do. That allows you to write the contract in a way that they're going to feel comfortable moving forward. And just the specific terms, like another thing that can go in a contract that can be a game changer is the documents that you ask for. If you don't ask for the right documents while you're going through your due diligence period,
Yeah.
they can be out. And one that I love to ask for, or I guess it's two, is the tax returns and the bank statements. If you don't ask for those in due diligence when they sign the contract, and then you come back and say, hey, I need you to prove your deposits,
Yes.
they'll just kind of shoulder shrug and you say, hey, that's not part of our requirements. Good luck.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
your person may not close because they'll say, well, I mean, I can put any number in the spreadsheet I want to and send it to you.
Sure.
Matter, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And people are fudging financials right now, and because they've got delinquency, they want to sell it to somebody else, and they know that they can't buy it if they have the delinquency. Because if you're doing agency debt on anything, they need the 90 for 90. And if
Yeah.
you don't have 90 for 90, you're not closing, or they're going to do it on the T1. And that's going to drop your NOI, which is going to kill your loan proceeds. And then you may not be able to make that delta up. But I've seen that happen for folks too. So I, the short answer is experience is the way to the capital, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how much money you have as long as you've got enough money to market for the deal. And then what does matter is who you know on the backside so that you can bring an experienced partner to the game. And then usually that track record will get you access both to their network if you need limited partners to come to the deal, as well as the bank coming and being the big partner with something between 60 and 80% of the dollars.
Yeah. Oh, that's so much good stuff there, Jerome. Now, that's like, I really like that piece about the, the wealthy folk not wanting to be rushed at all. That's something that's just not in their DNA. They don't, I mean, they didn't get there probably for being hasty, and they're probably not going to change because little Johnny wants to show up and wants it now. That's why would they do that? Why would all of a sudden change their whole life philosophy just I want to do something, right?
Yeah. And I would tell you, the more that you push, the more they slow down. They're like, I don't know. There's something wrong, and they vanish. And
Yeah, yeah,
there's nothing scarier than somebody that you're counting on to stop answering your phone calls.
yeah, yeah. They can sense that desperation in your spirit, and they will they will just go. So, if I could ask another question now, it looks like we're getting close to the end here, but if so, Jerome's experience, Johnny's not experience. If what do you need to see in a new operator that makes you feel confident? So, like, what are the criteria that you need to see? Obviously, you don't want to see somebody that's desperate. You want to see somebody that had a fling, a wild thought about that multifamily is cool from 2 weeks ago. What's the other thing that you need to see?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I want to see is that they've done something to get the right education.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear about podcasts and books, because I don't think that actually explains what's going to happen, because
yeah,
you're not actually a partner if I got to do everything and tell you how to do all the stuff, right? That's not
yeah,
actually partnership. I need you to bring some original thought to the conversation as we're figuring out the business plan and troubleshooting and looking for ways to add value, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I need you to be able to make your own model so that we can compare notes and say, well, you did this and I did that. And eventually I think we get to the right number, right? There's your side, my side, and then the edge of the coin. And, you know, we need to get to the edge of the coin to make sure that we feel really good about the assumptions that we're making going in. The other thing that I think is really just paying attention to the values, right? And making sure that the person does what they say, make sure that they're willing to take extreme ownership over the things they're responsible for. And if I see those things align,
yeah,
do what say, that means I can predict what you're going to do. And if I can predict what you're going to do, then I feel really good about trusting you. If I can't predict what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, then I'm out, because I I get scared just like everybody else pretty quickly. It's like I just don't know what to expect. This isn't comfortable. I'm out.
yeah. That's excellent. Yeah, and not everything that I've been working on or kind of real. There's a lot of things that dawn on me that kind of gradually realize and learn, kind of by osmosis. And some of the elements of what you were just saying there have been kind of recurring to me. I think this is like how this is kind of done, and how do you present, and how do you and yeah. So those are all great tips as well.
Johnny, this was awesome, man. Thanks for these solid questions. We haven't talked about money yet, but this one was really good, and I just really appreciate you being willing to come on and ask these questions so that other folks can learn from you as well. And I wish you great luck on your journey. And if the community can do anything to help you, we look forward to doing whatever we can, man.
Absolutely, but yeah, I'm like, as we kind of started out, and they're like, oh, hopefully I can do good questions and contribute to this to Jerome's podcast here. But some of the stuff you dropped and some of the stuff, the things you shared was like, wow, this is so good. This is really good. I'm actually going to go back and listen to this again. Even I was on the podcast, I'm going to listen to it again. So I actually just listen to you without me like being here. So without me having to like think. So
Awesome, Johnny. Talk soon. And to the listeners, the pack is with you. A favor, give us a 5-star rating, give us a review, and share this with somebody who's interested in multifamily investing. Until the next time, the pack is with you.